thing I put on top of the primer was this concealer. And we'll go to shades on this one as well. If purchased separately, $54. The concealer alone is $30. You're going to pay the $30 for both the concealer and the brush should be $24. This is another one of these beautiful, beautiful brushes. Doris, your brushes are amazing, and I don't say that about everybody's brushes, but yours are.
Well, yeah, I love them. They're all designed with our factory in Germany, and they're triple tied. They don't shed. You won't be going, you know, with the hair.
No.
But so true in fashion that you just saw that tinted serum primer, I wanted to create a concealer that was really unlike any concealer you've tried before, because there's, let's face it, Mary Beth, you've tried them, you've seen them, and there's a gazillion of them out there.
Yeah.
So when we talk about concealers, what I did differently was I started with the ingredients for the reason why we wear a concealer. So we wear a concealer because we have texture underneath our eyes. Our under eye area is thin. We can see that darkness, that like kind of blood pooling. I know it sounds a little gross, but we have those fine lines, the crow's feet, the darkness, the thinness. And I said, okay, let's start with those ingredients that actually go to bat with that turmeric and cucumber and magnesium. So you'll see here in live, like what you're seeing here in this demonstration, this little girl has a little bit of extra stuff that's happening underneath her eye. We all do.
Right.
It's a stressful world out there.
Yes, exactly.
Maybe you're not sleeping, all of those things that happen. So this has a sponge tip applicator, and the reason why I did that, you just squeeze a tiny little bit, just like that. And I did it so you can get right in here, Mary Beth, right? Because everybody gets dark in there, right?
Right.
Now, I'm in that shade light, and then here's the new way that you do concealer. Don't go all back and forth like we used to do in 1985. We're going to just do a little bit like this, a little bit like that. Yeah. She's going to tap it in. You're seeing Mary Beth. This has instant under eye brighteners. I'm going to be quiet. And that brush, Mary Beth, is that not the best brush?
Oh, it's a great
put on
brush.
Your concealer?
Yeah.
It just is like this air whipped brush that it's so good. So if you have
so good.
Yes, it's so good. Texture, discoloration, and every time you put on a concealer, you see it.
Yeah.
Remember, everything in my brand is talc free. There's no talc in the concealer.
Doris,
there's no talc that you just saw in the tinted serum primer, nothing.
We got to go to shades, hun. Let's talk about the shades, because now I'll be honest with you, I had the medium on, obviously of the primer, but I went with the light medium in the concealer because I like to be a hair lighter.
A little bit lighter. Because Mary Beth, you and I are 1980s, right?
Yes.
Like we like our concealer to be a little bit lighter.
Exactly.
Don't go down 2. You can go down 1. That's all right. I get you, girl.
Yeah.
So fair, you're porcelain. You're super porcelain. You're that Snow White. Fair light, you're a little bit warmer, but not much. Light is me for shade reference, and I stick to a true light. That's my foundation and my concealer shade. Now, Mary Beth popped down to that light medium, and that's perfectly fine. I always say you can go down a shade, but typically don't go up, right?
Yeah.
So light, medium. Now, medium's very, very neutral. That's when you come back to the screen, you'll see Mary Beth's skin tone. That is a medium. Tan is olive. Tan Deep has a little bit of red. Deep is very neutral. Deep Rich actually has a little bit of blue, and then Rich goes back to neutral. Again, this will adjust.
Yeah.
It will adjust up and down a little bit. So I've even taken all that daunting task out of, like, most of us, you know this, Mary Beth, back in the 80s, we would get a fair light and put that under there because we want our under eyes to be so bright.
Right.
Because that was the way we wanted, because our under eyes were dark. And we were like, how do we do that? So again, in true Dalton fashion, this has vitamin C and green tea and cucumber and turmeric. That helps with that thinness under the eye, the texture underneath the eye, all of that stuff. Zero talc. So when it dries and set, like you just saw Mary Beth, in another hour when she goes to her next show and you're watching, what you're going to see is that she doesn't have any crunchiness. There's no powder. It doesn't look like an accordion. Her under eye looks just as fresh as it did an hour later as it did when she put it on now.
Yeah.
Because I always think that concealers just kind of like let us down. They look good when we're sitting there. And all of a sudden we get up and we move away, Mary Beth, and all of a sudden like an hour later, it's like all this crunchy stuff. And you're like, Did I
Yeah.
have that before?
And
You know
and
what I mean?
yeah, I don't want it sitting in the lines. As soon as I smile, a lot of times, obviously, things can
Yep.
go into those lines. But if it's made well, it doesn't. And as long as you also blend it in, I think that helps a lot too. We have some more claims. Look at Amy. She looks amazing. Look at
Hmm.
that. And of
And
course,
she's
yeah, you can use it not just under the eyes, but in those labial folds and things.
yes. Yes, because it has these proprietary brighteners that brighten up where it goes. It
Yeah.
brings light to the area versus just masking, where a concealer goes. Again, 100% agreed imperfections in their skin were temporarily covered, that there was a dramatic improvement and temporary improvement in the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. That's what I said. Starts its life as a serum, just like the lipsticks, just like the primers, just like what you're seeing with the concealer. And every single person agreed that their skin appeared more radiant and hydrated. So thin tissue, crepey tissue, fine lines, Mary Beth,
Yeah,
all of those things, that's what happens to us.
that's
And
right.
that's okay. It's a
Yeah,
blessing. You know that, Mary Beth. You and I, when we see each other, we're like, it's a blessing. We're still here, right?
we're
We're
still
still
here.
going strong, right?
That's exactly
But
right. Here's some
we
more
don't need
claims.
everyone to know.
Yeah, exactly. Well, here's the other thing too, is that because it's clean beauty, I know that this concealer doesn't have alcohol in it, doesn't have all
Nope.
these other things in there sucking the moisture out of my skin.
Yep.
You know, that's what I want to know. And can we go to those claims again? I think we're going to show, or it was the ingredients. I'm sorry.
Okay.
We already showed the claims, yeah. But let's go to the
I
ingredients.
love this. This is just a part of a Mary Beth lavender, the vitamin
Yeah.
C, the aloe. This has hyaluronic acid. It has turmeric, magnesium, zero talc. So here's an interesting thing. If you turn over your concealer or your foundations, like
Hmm.
that tinted primer, that doesn't have talc in it either. A lot of times, and you remember this, Mary Beth, before we knew any better, we would take our baby's bottom and we would put that talcum powder all over them
Yeah,
because it's meant to absorb moisture. So
right,
when you're putting that talc on your face and underneath your eye, it's sucking the moisture out of your skin.
right.
So when you have talc, based products, your skin is going to look dehydrated.
Yeah,
Your skin is going to, by 5 o'clock, it's going to look and feel dehydrated. And you don't know why. You're not doing anything different. You're drinking your water. Well, I drink coffee in my water, just saying. But, it's like,
there you go, honey.
but that's what happens. And so when you look at this zero talc, but
Yeah,
replace those ingredients that kind of suck the life out of the skin with
right.
ingredients that put that moisture and hydration. And I always say pro-aging ingredients,
Yeah,
not anti, because you want to grow
exactly.
older, right? Like we
Right,
all want to grow older, but we want to
right.
do it in a very subtle, kind of controlled way.
Yeah, exactly. I say in a graceful way.
Yeah.
Here's the thing I want to remind you. This, first of all, the concealer alone is $30. The brush is $24. You're paying $30. It's really, I mean, and these are expensive brushes. These are absolutely gorgeous brushes. You can use it for blending. You can use it for all kinds of things. You could use it for blush if you wanted to. But the whole key about this is that you're getting a better price and you're getting a great concealer. I want to go back to the shades just to take you through this again. One of the things to keep in mind, we'll show you some more before and afters because I think that speaks volumes to it. I am like a connoisseur of concealer. The reason I
Yes.
say that is because concealer can really truly be the thing that makes you look better or worse, and so I'm
Yes.
very, very picky about any concealer that I use. But there you see, I'm using the light medium, even though
Hmm.
I wear a medium foundation.
That's okay.
Yeah, and tell us, you're wearing like what color foundation and what color concealer?
I, I'm wearing light foundation and light concealer,
Okay,
but it's okay. I always say either stick with your foundation, your true foundation shade, or
yeah,
you can go one shade lighter.
yeah,
But typically, don't go two or three. You don't need
right.
to in this
No,
concealer. Other concealers you might need to because you really want that brightening effect, right?
yeah,
A lot of times when you see like talc in your concealer, talc is actually, believe it or not, the actual real ingredient is very gray. It's like a white gray, and that's why you can't get that brightening. So you looking here, this is the tan shade. Look at how even it is. Look, and these are unretouched photos. Like, this is real, real concealer. You can't see it. If
Right.
you can see your concealer, you're wearing the wrong concealer.
Yeah.
Because it's going to eventually, an hour later, it's going to crack. It's going to dehydrate. Remember, this is really your eye cream. It's your
Yeah.
eye serum. And then I put in these proprietary pigments that cancel out the look of darkness,
Right.
that even out the look of the skin, help to take care of those fine lines, wrinkles, and texture, but also brighten that under eye area. So it's kind of like this little dream tube,
Right.
and it gives you that right brush that's just phenomenal together, like
Right.
peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, exactly. I was just sitting here thinking too. I mean, I know that a lot of us have bought makeup and then we get it home, we use it for a little bit, and then we don't use
Yeah.
it, throw it in a drawer. I just want you to know that we have a return policy right now that goes till the end of January, literally January 31st, 2025. If you get this home and you are trying it for yourself and you're like, you know what? I just need a different shade, a shade lighter or shade or darker. We have free exchanges. If you don't like it at all and you want to send it back, you can do that. You've got till the end of January to do that. So it really, truly is the time to try something fun, try something new, that type of thing if you want to. Okay, now, by the way, coming up a little bit later